Hello everybody, this is Mike Levin from MikeLevinSEO.com, and today is Code with Mike Fridays. Today I'm going to finish out the OAuth2 login project, and when last we left off I had thought I needed this Flask OAuth lib. I don't, so getting rid of that is my first order of business. My second order of business is to point out here that we are actually on MikeLevinSEO.local again, so that's not localhost. This is being hosted on the Raspberry Pi that's sitting next to me here at the office, and I am determined to keep this thing able to be hosted on external servers, on the machine you're sitting at, on cloud servers, whatever. So I did a little Googling of how to check what URL you're on under Flask, which is a necessary thing because after login at this particular moment in time, I am automatically forwarding you to localhost here. I'm actually already logged in, and localhost is not a good place to forward you to if the application is hosted somewhere other than that, which is here on the Raspberry Pi. So to fix that, I added more valid redirect URIs and JavaScript origins in my Google Developers Console interface. I'm hiding the client secret here from you, but everything else here is pretty much okay for you to see. And so I need to go into the location in my Pipulate code where I construct a login link. Get login link. And you can see here I construct the redirect URI, and I kind of hard code localhost right in at that point. Now there's some other places in here that I do something similar for, like get host name in order for making the bookmarklet. That will not generate a localhost bookmarklet. So I have a few things to solve here. Some which are to finish the OAuth project for today, but some which are for just better overall cleanliness. So what I need to do is import, and what am I importing? It's off of this piece of documentation. I am importing request. Import request from Flask. Okay, and that means that instead of hardwiring this in, I should be able to delete all that. I'm not in insert mode in Vim, and instead put, they say take your choice, URL, base URL, root, and it's just going to be, let's see, I'm going to redirect them back to, I believe it is URL root, but let's find out. Let's do a little Google search. What we want is Flask request URL. And here's some pages that I have been to. And I don't think that's the one that has what I need. Well, maybe it is. URL root URL. Oh, interesting. Nope, still not the ideal page. Stack Overflow to the rescue as usual. There's our documentation. So we want the variation, which is URL root. That should be the localhost :8080. So in our code, it is request.url_root. And this means after I completely log out of a session and go back and log back in, it should forward me automatically to the correct place, whereas it wasn't before. So let's give that a try. We'll do it here. I'm going to close out of this browser session completely. And I'm going to go back to here, and I will pull up this, which has been quit out of entirely. And let's see. Then I go to Mike Levin SEO .local :8080 is not running. That simply means that my session here has timed out, which is really a pain. Oh no, I actually did a syntax error. Oh, import request from Flask. That's probably a boo-boo. From Flask import request. From Flask import request. Now let's see if that can restart. There we go. Go back over here. And now, when we go over here, I should be able to hit login. Hey, invalid parameter. Okay, is not allowed. Okay, I made a violation in what's allowed. And so I am going to, let's see, invalid parameter is not allowed, :. So this is not allowed, what it's telling me. And so I must have gotten it wrong in over here. Like levinseo.local. Oh, .com. I put a .com in there. Silly me. So I pause. Interesting development. You can see as I tried to put in the correct redirect URI for a Mike Levin SEO.local address, it kicked it back out. It apparently needs to either be localhost or an actual registered domain. These local addresses do not seem to work, so I pause again. And just so you can see what I'm talking about, this is what I'm trying to enter in, and when I hit update, that's when it doesn't accept these. So that throws a little wrench into the works for doing OAuth authentication off of a external hosted server that is on your local network but does not have a domain name resolving to it. Unexpected. This might end up being a local host application running off of the Linux virtual server, which can come up as localhost 8080, or off of external servers that have registered domains. This concept of using hostname.local, as appealing as it is, seems to be throwing a monkey wrench into the OAuth2 plans. So I pause. And in cutting out the local host entry down here and trying to put the local one in directly, the situation becomes clear. It must end with a public top-level domain, such as .com or .org. It was working with localhost 8080. They probably coded in an exception for people doing development work on the machine they were sitting at, but they did not include an exception for machines behind firewalls that were private and not on the internet at large. I have to figure this out because it makes the application a bit less versatile than I was hoping, so I've got a way using username and passwordless OAuth2, but not being able to have it hosted on a private local address versus having to have a private local address or using it directly on localhost, but never having to use a username and password. It's an interesting dilemma, conundrum, and I give it a bit more thought. So it's kind of a bummer, but I am going to be installing Python 3.4 on my Mac because the problem I was just walking you through does appear to be insurmountable. Insurmountable, that is, without doing some sort of redirect through a public redirector, which is not a good idea when carrying an authentication token. So I don't want anything that'll just go to some external public generic URL bouncer and bounce me back to my local address, something that could essentially be a loophole and get around the restriction of the OAuth2 login valid redirect URLs. Seems like a good idea maybe at first, but it's not secure enough, so people are going to be limited to having to use host entries if it's hosted local in their network, or running it right on localhost, which is what I'm going after now by redoing the Python 3 and 3.4 install. Okay, all my tabs here actually do have broken pipes, so I am solving the same problem I was solving before. Maybe it's just in the stars that I'm going to develop on localhost. So I need to do sudo easy install pip just to get pip on this machine. Okay, so now I can do pip install Python 3-pip. And this shall get me to the point where I can both run Python 3 and use a Python 3 version of pip to install the dependencies for Pipulate. And I believe I have one more command. Maybe I needed a sudo before that. I don't think so. Oh, I will need one more command after I do this successfully so that when I just type Python, it's running the Python 3 instead of 2. Yeah, okay, I'm actually watching my previous video, and the answer was that it was actually easy install. So it's easy underscore install. Let's see. Sudo easy. Oh no, sudo pip install Python 3 pip. Actually, that is what I am trying.
Sorry to make you sit through those same installs over again, but you get to see my mistakes.
Sudo pip install Python 3-pip.
As you were watching the video, that would be a bummer. If this is even working, this is maybe taking too long. Yeah, I'm going to unpack Python 3-pip.
Looks correct. Looks correct in my video. Did it work on my non-Maverick Mac? What was that? Mountain Lion or something?
Quick investigation. It's Python 3-pip.
This is compounded knowledge. Just shows me that I should actually watch my last videos more thoroughly, huh? What was the solution?
Way too long. Possibly too bad. Okay, well the answer was is it couldn't find any downloads.
Yeah, I'm exactly where I'm at. Not finding it.
I'm also reading it.
What was my answer?
CD bash underscore profile. I think I have one yet. Paste. Escape.
Oh, that's how I make references to Python. Use Python 3. It's an edit to vimrc.
Python. Okay. Normal.
Maybe I do that first.
Q. Paste. Escape.
Alias Python equals Python 3 in quotes under .vimrc from home, cd home, vim dot, what was that? That was editing.
Q. I think I have one yet. Profile. I think I have
Dot
one yet.
bash underscore profile. I have a few things here. Alias Python equals single quotes. Let's see if it takes that. Open a new tab. Python 3.4.2. Okay, that's a good thing. Now let's see what else I have to say about this. How did I get the pip that did the version 3s of stuff?
Templates.
Hey, looks like I did it right there. I'm getting pie green.
Hard to tell. Let me just try exit. Let's see if pip just by itself tells us anything.
This is where it's going to be.
It's going to be hard to tell. Let me just try using pip again now. Pip install pie green. Tell us if it's already installed. It's going to Flask, make templates. It's re-downloading everything. Maybe it's running pip in some Python 3 context.
Well, that must be it. It's running pip just in Python 3. So let's try pip by itself, see if it tells us anything about what version. Pip -v. Well, it's saying 2.7. That's a little disheartening.
Flask that should have just been installed in pie green just.
Pip 3 install. How did I get pip 3?
Pip 3.
Must have got pip3 right here.
Let's see if I click pip3 here.
Maybe it's just there. It is. It's just there. pip3-v. There it is. It's going to install. So as long as I use pip3 now, it'll put things in the right location. So thank you very much, Mike. Clear. Let's see. CD home ls. Let's do a git pull right here. So I go over to GitHub and just search on Pipulate. And this will be one of my more unusual videos. I started out to do one thing, I ended up doing something else. But I'll name this correctly, it'll save you the struggling. Perhaps. Certainly my videos are becoming my best resources now for this sort of thing. So I am going to git clone paste ls. Hey, I've got Pipulate right there. CD Pipulate ls. There are those items. Let's see, what else? Vim Pipulate. That will tell me the requirements. And as you can see, this thing I deleted at the beginning of the video is still there because I didn't do any pushes. My Raspberry Pi copy isn't going to be my master copy. But I can start doing these pip installs, but with pip3. Pip3 install PyGreen. Whoops. Pip3 install PyGreen. Yeah, this kind of stuff must be pretty painful to watch, but you know what? Practice makes perfect. And this is my second time installing the Pipulate requirements native on a Mac. Last time on my pre-Maverick version of my Mac, and this time on my Maverick Mac. So it will be good for version compatibility checks. What is that next one? Pip install flask _ WTF, which becomes pip3 install flask WTF. And now pip3 install gspread. And then the last one. Oh, that is the last one. Get rid of that. My first edit locally on my Maverick Mac. Boy, this must be painful to watch. Clear. CD home ls. Make dir uploads. I think it's uploads I need for this. CD Pipulate Python Pipulate. Will it run locally? No module named Flask. Oh, well, Flask should have got installed as part of the PyGreen install. Let's check what Python is being run when I just type it. Ah, there's the problem, 2.7. That bash RC thing I did didn't work exactly right. Oh, I'm just in an older tab. It's funny how these things work. If I go to this newer tab, which was created, or even an even newer one, when I type Python here, I am in 3.4.2. I have some old tabs hanging around. So if I cd home, cd pipulate, Python Pipulate, now it should work. And it works much faster than on the Raspberry Pi. This was ultimately the best way to go. If I go to localhost :8080, there's my Pipulate user interface, and it's 420. And at least now I'm where I want it to be at the beginning of the day today. So I can go here, and it has done exactly what I wanted. Forwarded me back to localhost. So no more of those Raspberry Pi servers on local for now. I'll solve that in the future, but that'll be a big step. Setting up your own server, setting up your own 24/7 server when you move beyond localhost. Totally doable. You might need a registered domain in order to do it, but c'est la vie. That's the price of your own server that you're using OAuth2 authentication with. You can't have everything. You can't have security and well, I want to say security and anonymity, but anonymity is the ultimate security. But you can't have an advertised application through OAuth2 using an OAuth2 login server like Google for Google services, and then also try and keep it a private server on a network without a public address. There's this balance going on here. And so I'm up to the point where I can do the next project, which is to do a forwarding on this URL, moving this outside of this hash mark area. That hash mark means that this is not ending up on the server where it actually should be, so that the server app can use that token for login. So I guess that's it for right now. This is a rather unusual video. I don't even know what I'm going to name it or whether I'll edit it, but thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you soon, and don't forget to subscribe.